Welcome to Live Laugh Talks, His and Hers with Mico. How you doing, Mico?
I'm doing great. It's Christmas. Merry Christmas.
Well, thank you, and same to you, sweetheart. Hey, did you do anything special this year?
Nope, it didn't even feel like Christmas this year to be honest. We just they just opened up their little gifts and we just had a regular old day.
Well, that's good because that's what it's like to me every year. It's just a regular old day. So, yeah, stayed home, didn't go out of town, did none of that. So it's a
Mhm.
regular old day. But so you and I, we this is a topic that we talk about in private all the time. And
Mhm.
it's Android versus Apple. I'm kind of happy to talk about this subject because it gets me all fired up. Android versus Apple. So,
Mhm.
for me, we'll let everybody in on it, but anybody who knows me knows the deal. Uh, I'm Apple to the core, pun intended. Apple to the core.
Yep, and anybody knows me knows I'm Android to the core.
Ugh, mm,
And it's so
don't
crazy
understand.
though because even though we both, have our favorites, we have both decided to try the other one.
Oh yeah.
And
Oh yeah.
decided that we still gonna stick with what we had to begin with.
I mean, mm,
Ah,
see, for me, I don't like to not know something.
mhm.
Like if somebody tells me um, that they have this or that, I feel like I need to know it in order to say yay or nay. I hate to be that person that just denies something or just hate it off the bat. I
Mm,
want to get to know it. So I call myself somewhat bilingual when it comes to operating systems.
right.
I've tried both, as you've mentioned, Android and Apple. I even tried the Windows operating system.
Mhm.
That short lived. That was horrible from Jump Street. But I started out with smartphones with the BlackBerry. So I started. I'm going to classify that as a
Mhm.
smartphone. I know some people are on the fence, like, was that really a smartphone? But I started out with the BlackBerry. Okay, so from there, I went to the very first Apple phone, and to me, that was everything. That was complete. But because I'm that dude that still want to know everything, I did also have a second phone, which was an Android. It was the
Mhm.
first one too, the Google One,
Mm.
G1. Yeah. Um, I played around with it and I didn't get it. I still don't get it. I don't understand people's love of androids. I really, I really don't. From the first one, I sold it to a friend of mine, and they loved it, and they still use androids. And I'm like, what in the world? So then from there, I got this. I started doing a little testing, and I had a testing contract, um, with this company. And one of the products we would test would be Android phones. They were Samsung.
Mhm.
And so by this time, the I think it was the third generation Galaxy had come out,
Okay.
and I had the third iPhone. It was the iPhone 3,
Mhm.
and they were so similar. I literally put in the report that I don't know how they're not going to get sued over this phone. It's an iPhone, basically, the third generation Galaxy. And then, as everybody know, they did get sued over it. Apple won $1 million, and there's a lot of rumors about how that $1 million got paid to Apple. Um, there've been people who said that um, Android dropped $1 million worth of pennies on from a helicopter. All this kind of none of that's
Saying
true,
what?
but yeah, none of that's true. But yeah, there was a lawsuit and there was a win and all that other kind of thing. But to me, it didn't stop there. As we get down to today, I see similarities.
Mhm.
Like I've had the latest generation Pixel, and to me, I got the Pixel because I was going through this dispute with my carrier, and, and I had the latest at that time iPhone. I had the 13, and I had this real dispute because I dropped the phone just as I was changing from one carrier to the other, and then that carrier's insurance wouldn't cover me
Mm,
because my new carrier wouldn't cover me because it happened before 1201. The
mm-mm.
old carrier wouldn't cover it because it was already transferred, all this back and forth. I said, I'm not going to go buy the same phone that's out now, pay full price for it. So I ended up like buying the cheapest Android you could buy online. Or I think I bought it off Amazon for like $100, and it was
Mhm.
awful. Like that thing. I mean, you could take a picture and then it would just restart itself. I mean, it was just awful. It was just horrible. But what do you get for $100?
Right.
So I said, well, I get the Pixel because they had a huge discount on it, and so I used the Pixel for a year. Because it was the Apple list of all the Androids to me.
Mm.
Like it was most like, again, going back to that old Galaxy, that it was much like my iPhone, so it was easy for me to use. And I'll just stop there before I get into all the yibber yabber about my feelings about that Pixel. I'll
Yeah,
pause,
about my feelings.
allow, allow you to just chime in.
I mean, it's the same thing. You know what I'm saying? I was never a Apple fan. Like, I don't know why. I think, and it wasn't even that I knew the phone at all. I just hated the fact that everybody was so Apple. You know,
Hmm. Yeah,
anytime you talk to anybody, "Hey, yo, you don't have an Apple? No, I don't. Well,
right.
and I'm always against the grain. That is me. You will always find me fighting against the grain because I hate to go with the crowd.
Hmm.
So everybody was doing Apple, and I was like, I don't care. No, I'm not even trying it. I'm good. I'm going to stick with
Right.
it. And so, one time I was going to get another phone, and one of my good friends was with me, and we sat in that store. I think we were in Verizon and had an actual argument over which phone was better than the other.
Right.
And I was just like, why are you arguing with me over this phone? Like, I don't understand. Like, it's a phone. No, you don't understand. Apple is better. They do this better than, well, I really don't see the difference. And she was like, well, you know, you have to understand that's why everybody has Apple. I said, it's not about the name for me. It's about
Or
what I
everybody. So it's
Right.
gonna be a
It's
turn off for
about
you.
what I like, what I'm comfortable with, how I can navigate the phone. I said, and when I have had somebody's Apple, their navigation system is different. It's something I'm not used to, and I really don't prefer that. I like what I like. So,
Hmm.
I'm when I tell you we went back and forth, and I was just like, why? Only Apple people do this. You don't have Android people beating you down over you should have an Android. You just need to have this Android. And I was just like, and the lady behind the desk was looking at us crazy. And finally I just said, you know what? I'm buying this phone. And it's the phone that I chose. So I don't feel like arguing or debating with you anymore about it. And I ended up buying another Android.
Right.
Fast forward about might only been like a year or two later, I ended up getting new phones again, getting another new phone. And because Verizon was taking so long, I don't know what Verizon problem was taking so long to transfer the phone number, whatever. I decided, you know what, I'm just going to get new phones. And I ended up getting two. I stuck with the Android because I know Android is what I like. And then I ended up getting an iPhone because I've never had one before. And I just wanted to try it just to see.
Uh-huh.
So just like, when me and you were talking about, your differences with the Android that you didn't like that was going on with the iPhone, I felt the opposite about your experiences. And I think it comes down to just what we're used to. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? You're used to looking at a certain system and the system working a certain way. And then when you transfer over and it's kind of the opposite because it's like it mirrors each other or something. This is on
Hmm.
this side, and then on the other one, it's on that side. And I'm just like, you got to click this button a couple extra times on this system, and on this system, you just click it over here or you see it there. And I just was like, this is just too much. Like, I don't have time to be trying to relearn a whole new system just to use
Right.
the phone. So, like right now, I'm actually on my iPhone, but I prefer my Samsung Galaxy, and I still have 22. What
Okay.
I will say is, since we are doing this podcast, we have the what is it? The iPhone allows me to, um, without any interruptions, it just goes straight through
Right.
without dropping it. Where the Samsung, I had to go into the settings and set it up to make sure it didn't drop us.
Right. Because every like 10 minutes or whatever,
Right. It would drop.
it
It
would
would.
then
It would
go
drop off.
to, yeah. If it's acting as though it's unused, and then it would let you.
Right. Right.
Right.
So that was one of the major differences that I seen, was as far as the podcast goes. That the iPhone, it would just, I didn't have it wasn't interrupted.
Well, you said a lot. You did, and a lot that I would like to chime on. First,
Mm-hmm.
I like the point that you brought out about Apple users.
Mm-hmm.
Apple, and I'm going to say this in a way that hopefully does not offend people.
Mm-hmm.
Apple is almost a religion.
It is.
And what I mean by that is you will have Apple people that will try to convert you. They just can't leave it alone. So like when you sit there, you're talking about a friend of yours, and I
Mm-hmm.
know who you're speaking of.
Mm-hmm.
She's one of those that won't leave it alone. Like she will argue you down
Yes.
about your choice. But that's
Mm-hmm.
pretty much all Apple people. It's almost a religion. They one of my friends, he picks at Apple folks, and he said they worship at the temple, you know, Steve Jobs, because you just won't. I mean, they just won't stop. And not only will they proselytize the product, but they're just like she said. Everything has to be Apple.
Everything has to
So,
be Apple. Yes.
so if they have an Apple phone, I guarantee you they've got an Apple Watch.
Mm-hmm.
If they have to have a computer,
It's
oh,
got.
it's a Mac.
It's a Mac. Guaranteed.
Or if they can get away without the computer now because of progress, they have
Mm-hmm.
an iPad.
The iPad.
They will refuse to get anything Alexa, so they will pay 3, 4, maybe 100 times the cost of
Mm-hmm.
an Alexa product to have the home pod in their house because they want to say hey Siri and every product answers, and everything is seamless as they put it. They
Right.
can, and I get it because I'm that way. If I do
Mm-hmm.
something on my iPhone, I know that it's on my iPad. So just like this show, I can write my notes on my iPhone and it be mobile. I come home or go anywhere where my Wi-Fi is there, work, home, whatever. And then now it's on my iPad
Mm-hmm.
and it's on every device. So it'll be on my Mac if I use it. And then the Apple people, they're also going to have their AirPods, or they're going to have the Apple headphones, which cost more than anybody's. You know, I'm like $600-700 for some headphones. No, but that's Apple people. If they have one thing, it's everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I get it though. I understand why. What I don't understand is the proselytizing. They will literally do
Yes.
that.
When I tell you
They
I
will
was
go.
getting beat up in that little chair
Mhm. Oh
with a
yeah.
bunch of words, I was like, I'm just not understanding like what the problem is. Like, unless you plan on buying this phone for me,
Right.
it is no need for us to keep going back and forth because you're not going to convince me to get something that I don't want. Now I had the watch. Now you probably gonna be like, okay, she done went a little left with this, but I'm telling you now, I had that watch and it bothered my wrist. I don't know. It left this little burning sensation on my the longer I wore it, the more the burn I felt or something. And I thought I was gonna
See,
burn. I
yeah,
promise
you
you I
are. Cause
did.
see that's just your Samsung arm. That's all it is. It
That
was burning
he
because you
said
had an
it was a
Apple product
Samsung
on it.
arm. But look now, so I was like, okay, I don't know. I complained to my daughter. My daughter works at T-Mobile, so she was like, you know what? A lot of older people are coming here saying that. You don't
Oh,
hear the
come on now.
younger people saying it, but
See,
some older
we're
people,
not gonna do the age thing because we the
yeah.
same age. I ain't nothing old about man. We the same age,
Yeah,
man.
well,
My
listen,
order
listen.
feels
I'm
just
just telling
fine
you.
with
She
this
was
apple
like,
on
I didn't say old, it's older. She said a lot of older people are coming in and saying the same thing. She was like, I don't know what that is about, but okay, mom. So I don't even wear the watch anymore. I
My
gave it to my
goodness.
grandson. I
Okay.
I was attempting to switch over. I really was because I heard so much about it. Like people just drill it in. So I actually got an iPad also, and then I had actually even got a Mac computer. And oh my god, my friend was so excited.
Wow.
She was like, we didn't pulled her over to the Apple side.
She
We
is
got
on
her.
the dark side.
Yes.
Luke,
She's
you
like, I'm
are.
so excited.
I am your
Da-da-da-da.
father.
Right. And I ended up, I don't know why. I'm trying to remember what happened, but I did take the computer back. I took the Mac back. And I don't know what happened. I think I was just doing too
Probably
much at this.
$2,000 happened.
Yeah, I think I was just doing too much at one time. I had the money at the time, but I just was like, and I bought the big screen. Like I was overdoing it.
Mm.
So I was just like, you know what, this is just too much. I'm tripping. It's not that serious.
Well,
And then
well, some
again,
about the monitor wasn't the right one or something when they shipped it or something like that, wasn't it? Because I remember you telling me something. It's been a minute, but I remember
yeah, it was.
something happened with the shipping and
Yeah, they was
you
shipping
got the wrong
it.
monitor or something.
Everything was just crazy about it. And then I did try, to go on. It's just everything just looked foreign to me because I don't understand why Apple is almost the only company that literally runs their own show. Like
Mm-hmm.
Android and other computer companies, when you open their stuff up, there's a familiarity about it. You know,
Okay.
everything looks kind of familiar. Apple is like, no, we are not like you, and you are not like us.
Right. And so, well, I'm going to explain that.
Hmm.
See, Apple is a lifestyle.
Yes.
That's the reason why you see individuals they have every Apple product. If they have one, they got them all because it's a
Hmm.
whole lifestyle. So even when you look at the Apple products, let's just say your keyboard or the cases that you can buy for your iPad, the way that they work without I don't have to connect Bluetooth or nothing. I just put my iPad on the case, and then my keyboard just works seamlessly.
Hmm.
Or the mouse that's used doesn't look any if you're using a MacBook with it. It doesn't look anything like any mouse you've ever seen. Matter of fact, they've got track pads. They got so like you can spread your fingers just like you on an iPhone or whatever else. It's a pad that instead of an actual mouse.
Right. Right.
Everything looks completely different because everything is different. Because it's a
Hmm.
whole lifestyle. Like if you buy into Apple, you buy into the whole thought process.
Right. The
And then the
whole
thought
thought
process
process.
and the thought process is supposed to be simplistic. So what it's
Hmm.
supposed to be is Apple is not supposed to ever feel like you're using a computer. It's supposed to feel like that you're just using a device to simplify your life. Because when you say computer to some people, especially now you start talking about age groups, older people will say. So
Hmm.
you say computer, they get scared. Oh no, ain't no computer. But you hand them an iPad, and they go, "Oh, okay, well, I can use this. I can navigate this easily because I'm using my fingers." So then they make even their computers where you're using your fingers. So you
Hmm.
got the trackpad and you can touch the screen. So everything, and that's what it is. It's not even like computer technology, like you said, all the computer companies have this format and that. With Apple, it's a whole lifestyle. It's like if I think it, then I can do it. And it's that mentality. Kind of like Steve Jobs will say, like they said, well, do you want to have the iPad with a stylus? He said, God gave us 10 stylus. He gave us fingers. So for him, it was all about using fingers and touching the screen and all that. And it had to look a certain way and it had to feel a certain way. And then it just became that way. So that's the way Apple products are. They all have a certain niche about.
Hmm.
You're using the Apple computer. Like you say, it's not a Microsoft. Either somebody could blindfold you and you pretty much know that's an Apple because the way it operates is
Right.
completely different than all other computer systems.
It's completely different. And I was just like, you know what, this is just too much. I can't. I would like to know that if I got on one system and then maybe I had to go to somebody's house and they had a different system that I could it's a seamless transfer for me not to say, oh, okay, well, this is Apple now, so now I got to do something different. Or for me to go from Apple and somebody has a HP and I got to go, okay, this is not going to work the same way.
Right,
Where,
right.
when you have the iPhone and the Android, the same thing. When somebody hands you an Apple phone, it's a totally different thing. And I get it. You want it to be different. You want it to be, unique and you want that experience. But I'm like, that just like you make it. I'm not understanding because when with the what is it, the charging ports and all of that are all different. I'm like, damn, you can't even take the phone. You know what I'm saying? Like use the charger in the phone. Like, why would you do that? I don't-
Well, now it's different. Now you
yeah, they
got
fixing it.
USB-C for
Right.
everything, for your
But I'm just
iPad, for your
like,
iPhone, or whatever.
I'm like, why would you? So I don't know how.
Because the Lightning was the end thing. I mean, they
Yeah,
created the Lightning charger,
the lightning chargers. Yep, we have lightning
and
chargers
they,
too.
they,
So
they was
I just.
about that, but it's really USB-C was the way to go in the future, and that's what they changed to.
So I
Kind of
think they
behind the
changed.
eight
What is
ball
it? The
on
what is
that
it?
one.
Because I have the 13.
Yeah, so I think you're still using the Lightning on the 13. On the USB-C. I mean, on the 15, you're using the USB-C. So it'll be the same cord
Okay.
that's on the Android or the
Yeah.
iPads
So I'm
or
like,
whatever. Which they
eventually.
were. I'm going
Uh,
to give Android that one. Apple was behind the eight ball on that. They should change it to the USB-C long before
yeah,
the
and then
15
the
came.
what is it? The pictures on the phone. So I think iPhone is slightly behind when it comes to pictures. How
Okay.
do you feel about that?
Oh well, yeah. What I was gonna do, and I'm glad you're doing it that way. What I was gonna do is let you tell everything you like about the Android, but we'll go through one by one. That's cute. So we'll start there. Yeah. All right. So we'll start with pictures.
Mm-hmm.
Um, what I like about the iPhone is that I can take because I'm into pictures. I'm into photography.
Mm-hmm.
I take pictures of people and products because I sell products. So I take pictures of cars or whatever it is I'm selling. I like the fact that I can literally take my iPhone, take a picture of a car at night, and it will look like I took it in the daytime.
Mm-hmm.
I've taken pictures of houses in the dark and look like it was daytime. I have to tell somebody that was at night.
Mm-hmm.
I love the photography part of an iPhone. The fact that it's used to film movies, even
Mm-hmm.
there's movies filmed entirely on an iPhone. And if I had to compare the Apple to and when I'm talking about Apple, I'm talking about the Pro Max because the Pro
Mm-hmm.
Max has the three cameras. Okay, so the regular Pro has two, then Pro Max has a third. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking Pro Max to an Android. I'm going to not go with Samsung in this conversation. I'm going to go to Pixel. And
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you what I like. Where I think in some categories, and I'm getting goosebumps saying this because I know like Steve Jobs is looking at me from the grave right now, going, wait a minute now.
Mm-hmm.
That Pixel took pictures of people who are another race other than Caucasian
Mm-hmm.
better than an Apple does.
Oh,
It
okay.
it literally uses technology to identify with one's race.
Oh.
They even used it in a commercial. They talked about it in the commercial that,
Oh, I
and
missed.
they had African Americans, and they would take a picture, and it would look like the way an African American looks if you've got good vision and you're sitting next to your African American friend and you look at them, and their skin tone and okay, let's just say we have a darker skinned African American person,
Mm-hmm.
and their skin tone may have a reddish tone to it, or you know, I can see all of the hues of that person's skin in
Hmm.
a pixel picture 10 times better than I can taking a picture of that same person with an app. It
Okay.
killed it. I mean, I took better pictures of human beings with that pixel phone.
Okay.
Where it lacked to me was in lighting. So
Mm-hmm.
if I took this person's picture in the dark
Mm-hmm.
with that pixel, it wasn't as crisp as the apple would be in the dark. But if I took it in proper lighting, no comparison. I can go back through my because what I did was I saved all of my photos because I took like 10,000. I have 50,000 photos, 55,000, 10,000 on this pixel, and I'll go back and I'll look at the pictures of human beings that I took with that pixel. Now going back and looking at it, even on my iPad, and I can tell you which pictures I took on the iPhone and which pictures I took on the Pixel. And if it was a person, the Pixel was it literally lives up to its name, Pixel. It
Mm,
was about photography, and it
okay.
crisp. I mean, I'm talking about it picked up the person's hues and the brilliance of their skin,
Mm,
unmatchable, unbelievable. And if I did some fashion photography where people had on like bright colors, like I had one young lady, she's actually a model. She's dark skinned African American lady who likes to wear her hair blonde, and she had this beautiful yellow outfit. I will send you the picture. She in that. I mean, I could take that picture, and I know they'll make a calendar of it if I
mm,
send it to somebody. It's
okay.
that beautiful with that Pixel phone. I have to give unmatchable credit to Android and that I've seen pictures with your 22 and the 23.
Mhm.
Beautiful, beautiful. To me, they beat us on pictures of people
Mhm.
with Androids. Now, if I'm taking a picture of a car, don't hand me an Android.
Mhm.
I can take a picture. I had a picture of a 2015 Dodge Challenger that I had, RT. And I took those pictures at night, and I also took some pictures in the daytime. And you could see the literal metallics on this blue of
Mm,
that car. You could see the metallic. It looked like it was wet.
mm,
Take a picture with the Android, not as crisp, not as beautiful. So to me, Androids were better with people than with products, and then
okay.
the Apple was better with products, not people as much. I have to give the check mark to Android on that, and we're going to go down the list.
Okay.
And with you, you're saying Android. Period.
Well,
You have both phones.
Android for me, I like my pictures with Android. I'm not really a photo taker of, other things than people, but so I
Hmm.
wouldn't really know. So since you have brought that up, since I do have both phones, I will test it out to see. So I haven't tested that part of it out, but I noticed when I did do the comparison to see what they had, I noticed that iPhone you can zoom in 3 times. Android you can zoom in up to 10 times. Um,
Hmm.
with the features, Android had 14 features. iPhone had 6 features. Um, One thing I didn't like about what I don't like about the iPhone camera is when you're on a video call. I don't know if the camera is off to the side, and it does it. It's really bad with the iPad. The iPhone is not that bad, but that iPad, it just creeps me out that I'm looking at the iPad or the iPhone to talk to someone. But if I'm looking directly at the phone, it looks like I'm looking off a little bit to the side.
Hmm.
Yeah, you have to pay attention to it.
Okay.
Ask somebody when you get on the when you do a video call, look directly at the phone, at the person. But to them, you're not looking at them. You're looking like slightly off to the side.
Okay.
And when
Glad you mentioned that because let's
mhm.
make that the next subject. You said video phone
Yes.
for
Mhm.
Apple users. We call it FaceTime.
Yeah, yeah, y'all do the FaceTime thing. But
Inventors of
mhm.
that.
Yeah. So
Let's just go ahead and
when
get.
I do it on the Android, my Samsung, I don't have that issue. I'm looking directly at the person.
Mhm. So with me, FaceTime is
Mhm.
amazing. It's flawless to me. I love FaceTime. I had, of course, that going all the way back to what the iPhone 3, possibly, maybe or
Mhm.
4. Okay, so it took Android a long time. And then even when doing that, it's still not, Android. We're
Mhm.
using another app to do it.
Yeah, yep, it's the
And,
apps.
I'm not a fan of all that because now I got to download apps to
Mhm.
do what Apple just does as a functionality of my phone.
Right. As long as it with another Apple.
Well, you can also do it with Android now. I just have to send you a link, so I can
That's
send
right.
you a link
India was
and
sending
then
me a link.
India is a friend of ours, the one that was so we let the public know who India is. That's the one who was
Who
who
was a
was in your
diehard
ear
Apple fan.
and yes, and was at the store arguing with you when you was buying your phone.
Yes. I think
So
India is the one who originally took that bite out the apple that they got on their logo.
she took the bite out the apple. She took it. Now, this is where I go with where why I'm more of an Apple person, and I know we're going to go functionality about functionality now. I like that, but I'm more of an Apple person because simply it was the first.
Mhm.
It was before Google, and you know the chairman of Google sat on the board of Apple, you know, and then all of a sudden decides to make his own phone, and of course that is where the big stink between um, Steve Jobs and you know the rumors of what was said before his deathbed and you know destroy Google and all this. We nobody knows if any of that was ever said, but um, it was because that if they felt stolen. Like okay, we got this guy on our board and he takes the technology and goes off and builds his own
Mhm.
phone with it. So a lot of times, I think my argument where I drop the mic is when somebody comes with his Android business, and I'm like, well, it's easy. It's easier to be great when you have nothing when you have you didn't reach for anything. Like okay, so Apple had to invent it, they had to do it, they had to do it great, and then all Android had to do was come along second, and then at first copy what we was doing, and then later on start expounding upon what was already built. That's easier to me than building it from Jump Street. How do you feel about that statement?
Well, I don't really know because well, I guess you're talking about it being a smartphone.
Yes, well, yeah, yeah, because I mean, of course, the operating systems we're talking about are smartphone operating systems.
Right.
Before the you know iOS or Android operating system, you know, we didn't have that. We just had you know what was given to us, not necessarily smart. Like some people wouldn't even call a BlackBerry a smartphone. So they
Right.
weren't necessarily. I'm just talking about the operating systems that came about and the phones that came about with them. So you had the Apple, you know, the first Apple phone to come out and then Android came out many months later. Almost, I think it was like 15 months later. Was when the first Android operating system and Android phones dropped. I mean, of course, we can Google that because
Mhm.
that's where it all started. It was Google sitting on the board of Apple and then taking the ideas and creating a phone.
I mean, I feel like eventually somebody was going to do it anyway. There's nothing in this world that there's only one of. Of course, somebody's going to replicate that.
Hmm.
But my thing is, with these systems, like I've talked to some people who work with systems and things like that. Like I can't get deep into it because I'm not smart in that area. But they say that actually they are the same systems. They're like, we work with this, and inside it's pretty much the same. When you got to do certain things, it's the same system. It's just different names, and they just switched over a little bit this way to modify some things, and switched over a little bit the other way to modify some things. But otherwise, you're not the price difference that you're getting. You really shouldn't be paying for because it's really the same thing.
There
So,
are a lot of similarities. If you go
hmm
about using both operating systems, you'll find
right.
a lot of similarities. Apple people don't like to hear that. And
It-
if you tell them that, they'll easily say to you, "Well, because it's easier to replicate than to invent, and all Google
mhm.
did was replicate." I can't argue with them on that. All I know is that there are very there are a lot of similarities.
Right. That it's easier to replicate than invent, but I mean, I don't know. I just find it just strange whether you're inventing or not. Somebody's going to come behind you. So for you to say, "Well, I invented this," that's fine, but guess what? It's going to be about 3, 4, 5 other people behind you that either just didn't get to it first, like maybe just didn't put the
Put it
get
to the market.
right, put it to the market first and get their little patent for it, or maybe they were 2 steps behind you.
Hmm.
So I always look at things like this is a big world we live in. And for anybody to think that your one idea, you had that one idea out of 8 billion people, you might want to second guess it. because it's somebody either next door to you or all the way on the other side of the world. They probably had that same idea. It's just who got to it first.
Right.
So I don't mind that part, but I'm just like, let me see, what else would we talk about? Calls. How about calls? So on my iPhone, and I'm probably a little bit behind you because I'm sure you have the up to date one. I have the iPhone 13.
I'm rocking the
So you
latest
got
and greatest
15.
titanium
Yeah, see that
18. Yeah.
titanium and all of that stuff. So the when I go to call someone, if I go to the touch tone pad, the little keypad,
Mhm.
and on my Samsung, I can type in, if I type in the letters, it's just like um a regular phone where it has the numbers and the letters. So I can type in my sister's name. I can type in my mom's name, which is crazy because it's 666.
Oh
Because
wow.
ain't it? Because it's not her name, it's just mom. Mom is going to be 666. So, but as I'm typing in 666, I'm not just typing in the number 666. It's also up in the search engine. It's telling me mom, my mom's name is popping up. On my iPhone, I can't do that. If I'm typing in the numbers, I'm just going to get the numbers. It's not going to go through my contacts and search for the names also. And
Now
that's
let me ask, what are
uh-huh.
you using when you do it on your iPhone? Are you using your contacts to search?
Nope, I'm using the keypad. So I don't have to go to my contacts and look for mom and put it in there. I can just
You
go to the keypad itself
to
and
the
type in
keypad
mom.
itself. Okay. So
So
let me
that's the
so
only. hmm
so if I go to my keypad
Yeah,
itself
let me know
and
about that
let my
iPhone,
dad's
about
number
that
starts with
15.
798. So if
Yeah.
you go to the keypad itself and you go to search, I can
hmm
put in 798. It'll bring up everybody whose number starts with the 798. So I have like I'm looking at 10 numbers, or I can just type in dad, and it'll bring up that.
From your contacts,
No, from where you say the keypad.
from the
So
keypad.
so now when you say the keypad,
hmm
I'm in the phone application,
Right.
and the phone application has at the bottom favorites, recents, contacts, keypad, and voicemail.
So you go
So I
to
will press
keypad.
the one that say key contacts, and then I can type in the number or the name,
Now
and that's
see
in this
my
phone app.
my contacts.
And that should be the same since the
Yeah, my
first iPhone.
contacts is
Mine
just
mine been like that since one.
yeah, my contacts is just names. And then if I go to keypad with the numbers and the letters on there, if I go to say James, James is JAM, which is 526, the first three, and your name pops up, and anybody with like um those same letters in there. So James pops up, Grove Landing, where I used to live. The stylist pops up. Her name is Jeanette because she's got a J, A in there. You see what I'm saying?
Okay, I get you. But
Yeah.
what you want to do is you
hmm
want to press the phone application. So if you press the phone application at the bottom of that, you see the five different things, right? Where it says favorites,
hmm
recents, contacts, keypad, and voicemail. If
hmm
you hit the one in the middle that says contacts and you go to
hmm
search, you can put a number in there. You can just put your mama 666 right there. And should bring up, and it will bring up because I right there I can put 798, and I can bring up everybody in Georgia with a 798 number. I
Okay,
don't have to
I
type it.
see it. I see it on the other way. So again, it's just a different way to do it.
Just a different way to use it, but it does the same
Where
thing,
yeah. So I'm
right?
trying to think.
So I think a lot of things is just,
Oh, okay. You
it's
know
a
what?
different what.
I'm on my doggone my what's the name? I didn't even know they did it like that on my Samsung. So the Samsung does it like that too. But I don't have to do it like that. I don't know, for some reason I like to use my keypad to put it in.
Okay, so
I
let's.
guess cuz I'm older, the words you hate so much. And
Oh, it's not even that I hate it. It's just the fact that anytime I start talking about technology, and I feel that something could be different,
yeah, well
some younger persons
it's
have
not
to
the
tell me my
technology.
age,
Yeah, it's not
and
the
I'm,
technology
that's what I don't. It's not that I hate the word older. I just hate the fact that some younger person think it's my age why I'm having a problem. No,
that
I'm
you're
having a
having
problem because I'm
problems.
having a problem.
Yeah. So it's not the technology part. It's just that I guess the numbers are bigger. So it's because it's the keypad instead of the search box. So I don't have to, I still wear my glasses. I'm a little blind. So, everything is just bigger. So I don't have to worry about that.
Well, you could
But
just change your font.
That was because it's in a smaller, it's still smaller than if you open your keypad up, your keypad is way bigger than your search box.
And not on mine because I have my font larger.
I don't want to mess with it while I'm on the phone.
Yeah,
I have to check it out.
I just increased my font so that it's large on any screen
I
anything
have
I
to
go to. So
I'm gonna have
I
to
don't
look at
like
that.
now. I don't even have my glasses on. I can see my contacts without my glasses because I just changed the font. That's it. And that's
Okay.
see that's another difference. It's just like you
Yeah,
were saying. It's just a
it's just
difference
like
in.
placed in odd places that when you go to other systems, it's pretty much in the same spot. You might have to look over a little bit, but where Apple says no, we gonna put this in a whole different area or location so that you'll know, as you said before, that this is an Apple and this is not no basic phone that you got.
All right,
Then with the
let's
text messages,
okay,
y'all got, I do like the
y'all.
fact that you can like and you can do the emojis in the text. You know what I'm talking about? Like if
I can
somebody
do
wrote something to you.
memojis. I can have a picture, cartoon picture of myself and attach it too,
Oh,
not
we
just
have that too.
emojis.
We have that.
No, let's talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
Your Samsung does. A
Mm-hmm.
Pixel does not.
So here's the thing. Here's the thing about that too. That's what I love about Androids. Androids come in different varieties, shapes, everything. The thing about an Apple is you're kind of stuck in like a maybe a three range thing where, and it's so expensive where the Android makes it, like you said, you got a phone all the way down to $100. It might not do everything you need it to do, but for people who can't afford and they just need to make a phone call here and there, that's perfect for them. Apple doesn't have that because it's for, I really believe it's just for a higher, almost a higher class of a person. You
I
know
don't
what
know
I'm saying?
about. I wouldn't say class,
Well, you know what I'm trying to say. You know,
but
people who
but
make a little
but
more money.
where we that's where we differ. You're
Hmm.
right about what you said, but you're wrong about what you like. Cause see, I don't need variety with my phone. I don't want my phone to be like ice cream. I don't
Hmm.
want varieties. Because see, if I go out here and I buy my Android phone, what I don't have is consistency. I want consistency. See, if I
Hmm.
get my Apple, I got consistency. I don't care if I can go down to the common person phone. I can get an Apple SE that's affordable. Yeah, I don't have to go get a $2,000 Pro Max. It's not even 2,000. Let's just say it's around 16. I don't have to do that. I can get an Apple, but my Apple SE at $300 going to do the same thing that my Pro Max is going to do as far as the consistency of applications. Oh, okay, so we just spoke of where you just said, well, I can do um, memojis and emojis on my messaging on my
Hmm.
Samsung. Well, I can't on a Pixel, and another person can't on what other brand they have. There's no consistency. So then I got my Pixel, and I'm going. There's people with Samsungs telling me, "Oh yeah, you can like that message, and you can they can on their Samsung. I can't on my Pixel, and it's not about price. See, that is about each brand having its own take on the operating system. So the thing about Android is anybody and everybody. You and I can start up a company tomorrow. We can start up Mico and James phone company, and then
Hmm.
with that we could have an Android operating system because we darn sure can't have Apple because that's only on Apple phones. So we
Hmm.
can start Mico and James. Now with Mico and James's phone, we may or may not have the same things that a Samsung has. That doesn't make Samsung to justify its price point. That's just the fact that Androids are not consistent. It's not. It doesn't cost more money to have emojis or emojis. It doesn't cost more money. It's just that Google just decided we're not going to do that on ours. You see what I'm saying? So now I'm cheated out of my experience because I chose Google instead of Samsung. Or if I choose Motorola or any other operating system that's on Android, it's going to do something different than what I might want. So then I got to understand when I go buy Android, I got to go through a list of does it have this? Does it have that? Well, I don't have to do that with Apple. It got everything. And I don't care if it's the cheapest one or the most expensive one. It's going to do the same thing across the board.
So
That's what I
what's the difference in the price then?
The difference in the price is what extra that you get. So if I've got, let's just say I get an Apple SE versus a Pro Max. For me, getting the Pro Max was about my memory because I have 55,000 pictures. I have 1,200 movies. I have, things like, so I need a gigabyte. I need a 256 or, you know, something like that. So I've got to have more memory that I can't get on the cheaper phone. So it's not about them operating differently. It's about memory or cameras. Like I got the Pro Max because I'm a photographer. So I take pictures of people, objects, and things, and land and stuff like that. Because I love property. Like I stop at old houses and take pictures of. Well, if I got my SE phone, I'm not gonna be able to zoom like I can with the Pro Max. I'm not gonna have 40x capability. See, so it's not that I have a different operating system. I've just got the cheaper version of the phone, so I won't have the same capabilities. That like I won't have the same memory. I won't have the same like I just mentioned abilities to take pictures and such. But I am going to be able to do memojis or FaceTime or it's going to have the same consistency of that type of operating system across the board. Well, that's
So
not the case with an Android.
you can't get that same thing if you get a SE and get 64 gigabytes or 128 gigabytes.
Well, you just answered your own question because I don't need 64. With mine, I need a gigabyte because I have so many thousands of pictures. So then I can only get a gigabyte with the Pro Max.
So I'm gonna have to do some research because I just refuse to believe that the only difference is the storage. It's got to
Well,
be.
honestly, I thought you did your research before you know better than to come with me and not research first.
No, I did a lot of research. We ain't talked
Well,
about the
because
security, the
I didn't,
charger,
and
the
I honestly didn't say
logging,
the only thing
gaming
different,
systems. Storage is part of it.
but I
Storage
didn't say
now,
the
from
only
what I
thing.
understand, storage was better
What
on
I didn't
the
say was the
Samsung
only
side.
difference is the storage. I didn't say that. I said for my Pro Max, I needed storage and photo capabilities that an SE wouldn't have. So the difference, like say for instance, if you went to get the Apple Pro Max, you can get the Apple Pro.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it could have the same amount of memory. So the Apple Pro is cheaper. It can have the same amount of memory as the Pro Max, but it won't have the same camera. So the Pro Max has the three cameras. I said that actually at the beginning of our podcast. So I got this one with the three cameras. So the
Mm-hmm.
camera capabilities, but the operating system is the same. I don't care what Apple you got. So it's going to have, if I buy a new one, it's going to have iOS 17 across the board. On iOS 17, I can do emojis, I can do emojis, I can like pictures, I can FaceTime somebody. I can do the same thing on any Apple phone across the board. What I can't have is the same camera that a Pro Max would have, or I can't have the same memory. So a SE might have like 64, where I need 256 or 1 terabyte. I mean, so that's your difference with your Apple product. I'm not gonna get an Apple and all of a sudden it don't do memojis. That's the case with an Android. I go buy a Samsung, I got that. I go buy a Pixel, I don't. I go buy a Motorola, I don't. So they take out capabilities with the different brands. So there shouldn't be different brands of phones, in my idea. There should be, if you got that operating system, if you run in back in the day, all the Androids had these funny, cute names like ice cream and all that. If you want running whatever, I think you had what Android 12 or 13 now. If you running 12 or 13, it should be that way all the way. I don't care if you buy what brand you buy. It should all operate the same, and it doesn't. And I don't know how you like that. You say you
Well, I guess
like
it
it.
does. I guess
I
it
don't
doesn't
see.
matter if I like. I guess for me, it's all about the phone I buy. So for my mom, she not looking for. She don't care if she get an emoji or an emoji. She could care less. So I guess it's about that variety of. I don't have to have that. I don't need it. If they didn't put it on there, it doesn't make a difference to me. That's the phone that I chose that I want. I think for me, there's a bigger variety in there. Whether you say if all Androids should do this, and because it's an Apple, it's the same brand. It's the same iOS system. So of course it should be doing the same thing. But for Androids, like you said, I could go and create an Android. So my Android that's by me, not all the other Androids by different people, are going to be different. The Apple is the same because it's by the same company, of course, and they have their own personal system that they're sticking to with that same company. So when I look at, okay, does this phone have emojis, but I only got to pay $200 for it, I don't got the emoji part to it, or I'm only paying $400 for this phone, but I don't have this section. I'm not worried about that because I don't need that anyway, or that's not something I'm interested
But
in.
but to call variety lack
You
of
do get
something,
variety, but you get
that's
the
not a
varieties
variety.
in
That's a
different
lack of.
phones.
I don't have something. That's not variety. That's lack of something. And it doesn't matter whether it's your mama, it's a 7 year old, or it's you. If you're building a phone, and let's just say we built the James Mico phone, the Mico James phone, and we built it and we use that same operating system. We use that 13 that's out now. It should be the same on every 13.
It can't,
What you can give me variety, you can give me some new freshness, but I shouldn't have the lack of something. Like I shouldn't be missing something and pay the same price point.
but
So if I
but
buy a
you're not
Pixel, I'm
paying the
gonna pay
same
the same
price
price.
point.
Oh, now if I buy
If
a
you're
Pixel, I'm
missing
paying the
something,
same
you're not
price
paying the
point
same price.
as I am with a Samsung.
Which one now?
Now there may be, if I buy a Pixel, it's the same price point as a Samsung.
It's Pixels. No,
Same
it's
price
not.
point.
No, it's not. I promise
Okay,
it's
so
not.
so so you get a $1,200 and you got a 1,400. Now you got the fold at $1,600.
Mm-hmm.
You got Samsung phones the same price point between $1,200 to $1,600. There's only one Samsung that costs more than $1,600, and that's the fold, right?
That's the who?
So we're in the same price point, but we're lacking stuff. So between $1,200 to $1,600, you're telling me I can't do emojis, but I can buy $1,000 Samsung and do it less than the Pixel.
I don't.
That
Last
doesn't
time
make
I
sense.
checked the Pixel, it had
That
to be a
doesn't make
couple
sense.
months ago, but I know they were not the same price point as. I can't remember what the price is, but I know it's not. Treasure works at the T-Mobile, so I'm in the store.
And I
So
know
I,
Treasure agree with me.
I
There's a sixteen
know.
hundred dollar there's a $1,600 Pixel Fold out there. There's also the regular Pixel 6 is 1,200. If you get 256 memory, okay, so all you get was 1,000, but it
So then
doesn't
you're
matter.
going off of the
I can get
memory, and you're going off
I can get
all the
I can
phones.
get
Hmm.
I can get the my point is I can get $1,000 Pixel,
There you
or
go.
I can get an eight hundred
There
dollar
you go.
Samsung. But the $800 Samsung got more capability. I can do emojis on it, and I can't on $1,000. That don't make sense. What I'm saying is, it don't matter what the price is because you can pay more for a Pixel than a Samsung, but the Samsung is going to do more than the Pixel. With
Because you
with
have.
that doesn't make to take stuff away is not variety. What you've done is you've decided to build something and not include what the other person has. So now all of a sudden Samsung becomes the king of Android because it does things more like Apple. Let's call it what it is.
That the
But at
Samsung. I
the
don't.
bottom line is it should be if you're operating on the same operating system. And that's my problem that I had because I had my Pixel, but I also had a Samsung Flip. Okay,
Mhm.
my Flip costs less than the Samsung Pixel, but it didn't have the same capabilities. Now the Pixel took better pictures, in my opinion, but it didn't have the same things. Like, okay, let me give you another thing. Okay, so every Apple phone is gonna have notes,
Mhm.
and you know what? I write this show on notes.
Mhm.
Everything that we was gonna talk about today, I put it on notes.
Mhm.
If I go to the grocery store, it's on notes. All right, everything, all my groceries I need to get. All right, or if I whatever I need to do that day in my notes.
Mhm.
I got you got your Samsung 22. Does it have notes on there?
Sure does. Everyone I've had notes. That's what I use.
Everyone you've had, and
Mhm.
every Android you had was a Samsung.
Mhm. Yeah, I'm a Samsung fan.
Fantastic. It all has notes. Guess what? On my Pixel, it didn't have notes. I had to download a notes app. And you know what's embarrassing? I had an interview in which I had certain things in my notes. So I'm at the interview, right? And I pull up my Pixel and I got notes that's an app. That's app that you purchase or that you download, not an app like it's automatically with the phone, like
Mhm.
your Samsung is automatically with the phone. Because I had to go into the Play Store, download a notes app. I go to talk to the potential person that I'm interviewing with, and the notes commercial came on. Like on YouTube, I got commercials.
Oh, I ain't never
Here
seen them
I'm
like
in my
that before.
notes, and a commercial comes on. Embarrassing. Embarrassing. My phone doesn't even have the cable. It doesn't even have a standard notes app. Not because it's not operating on Android 13, just because it's a different manufacturer that just decided they weren't going to put notes on it. Does notes cost anything? No. So it's not like it costs more to have. They just chose not to have it. So what it's like going to a store, and I'm thinking I'm getting one thing, but when I walk out that store, I'm getting something else. And that's what I don't like about Android. I would literally have to sit down and everything that I like, whether it's memojis, notes, or what have you, I would have to then go to each manufacturer and make sure each manufacturer got the same thing before I buy that phone. That makes no sense.
Well,
That's where you lost.
I just feel like I don't have an issue with downloading the app. That's just me. You know what I'm
I
saying?
don't want commercials in it.
But I have never ever heard or seen anything like that before. So
No, well,
that's absolutely brand new to
when,
me that you got a
when
commercial
we
while you were
when we
opening
get
up an app.
together, or I can FaceTime you because I can send you a link.
Hmm.
I will show you my notes with the
Yeah,
commercial
that's crazy.
on a
I
Pixel.
have
I'd be happy to
never.
do that. Matter of fact, you can Google that yourself. You can see it that Pixel doesn't have a notes app.
Hmm.
It's on its own. And I can't tell you about Motorola and all that because, and you know what? My nephew is this Android person. Now he's an Android person technically because he designs apps.
Hmm.
So when I was having this conversation with him, I was like, "Hey, I'm thinking of designing this Android."
Yes.
He's like, "Don't do it because you will have more functionality with your Apple j- just off the shelf than you will with the Android." So he has his Android
Hmm.
where it does certain things, like it wakes him up to a certain. I mean, he's got all kind of capabilities that he's added on it because he's a programmer.
Right.
Well, you can't program your own Apple. Apple comes like Apple comes. You
Hmm.
can program the Android, so it's open ended.
Right.
So, like you and I could actually build our own phone and
Right.
then put it on the market. But how many people that's buying Androids are out here programming it?
I don't think they
It's not.
programming it, but I see a lot of people who want to change their the skin of the Android, who want to change how
The skin. What
your
do you mean?
when you open your Android up, what do you call it? The
The wallpaper?
Yeah, the wall,
We can do that on the Apple all day long.
not just the wallpaper, but how the whole thing is set up and how it looks, how you can move
Okay,
stuff around.
so gotcha. So you're saying like I've seen because I had on my Pixel
Hmm.
where it could look like an apple, so
Hmm.
it would have the round apps like an apple. Yeah, okay, or the square apps like Apple. Okay, so yeah, yeah. I mean, you can download an app to do that to your Apple phone,
But see,
but
there you go. Would you just say download? You just complained about downloading the app. You
no, 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 no. What I complained about was downloading an app that should be standard.
okay? So why
What
shouldn't
you're
that be standard
what you're
that you
talking,
be able
but
to?
see what you're talking about is an open operating system, and now I got to design it.
So
That's
the
not the
same
same.
thing with.
And then I still would have to, if I didn't design it, I still would have to download the app on the Android to make it look like Apple.
But then
So it's still downloading an
there's
app.
my thing with the text. Everybody complains about, and I never got that. There's this blue text. I guess everybody loves on Apple.
And then when you do an Android, it's green.
I don't even get the green. I My texts are in black and white. But
That
if you go
tells you're rocking that Android.
in your system, you can darn near make it look the same. And I'm not downloading anything. I'm just pressing the settings key in my messages and going in
Well,
there and change. You can't do that on an iPhone. You can't
well,
change.
because the Android doesn't have iMessage, so it's not using iMessage.
Correct. But that's my
So
point.
that's the reason why it's different colors. So if somebody texts me and they're using an Android phone, I
Hmm.
know it's an Android phone because it's not iMessage.
Right.
It's that's the color.
Because you can change your colors, you can change the text, you can change the
See,
shape, you can
what
change
we're
the
talking
shape of the
about,
bubble, you can change the fact
what
that you don't
what
have a bubble.
what, what I'm talking about is basic apps. We can go
That
in.
is a basic app on there.
We can go in and change. I can go in and change anything on my Apple phone. I can make it. I can change skins. That's all downloadable applications. What I'm talking about is basic applications like notes. Notes should be on every phone. So when you start lacking stuff, you're not using variety.
So I think
You're
I
just
think
not had adding things that are simple.
so I think the difference is you're looking at it as Android should be the same all the way across, and
I
Apple
think
wait a
I'm.
minute, and
I
Apple
don't
should
want you
be
to. Well,
since
what you're
since
doing is telling me what I'm saying. So
okay.
let me
So
say it again,
okay,
so so I
my
can
fault.
say what I'm saying. What I'm saying
What I'm
is
hearing. Let me tell you what I'm
basic
hearing. What
apps.
I'm hearing you say is what I'm
Basic
getting from
apps
when I'm
should be on
getting
all Android phones the same way.
what I'm
So
hearing.
a basic app is like phone,
No.
messaging, notes, weather. All those things should be the same across the basic apps should be the same across the board. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is because I'm still gonna say what I'm hearing. What I'm hearing is
You can, but I
what
define what I'm saying.
what I'm hearing is you saying that okay, so Apple does theirs this way. So this since there's Apple and then there's Androids, all the Androids should be the same. But you're what I'm also trying to say
No, that's
is
not what I said. Your hearing is incorrect. If
okay, so what
you're
am I hearing
saying
wrong?
something
Because
that I didn't
you
say.
just said that same application should be across
You said
the
everything
board.
should be straight across. I'm not saying everything. I didn't say everything. I
What's
said,
not
and I'll
everything?
say it now the third time.
What's not everything?
Basic
Okay,
apps
basic
should
apps
be the
should be the
same
same across the
across
board
the board.
on
Not all
all
apps, because
Androids.
then
When
you're
you
not an open system.
so when you
So
have
I want Android to stay open. I want them to do what they do best, be open.
so
What
here's
I want is the base. So in other words, if I have the capability to call somebody on this phone, I want to be able to call somebody on the other phone. If I have the way to use my notes, I want to use that on every phone. If I have the fact of messaging somebody, I want to message people on every phone. If I want to do memojis, I'm not going to call that basic. Memojis is not basic. We're going to move on. So basic apps, okay, like weather, it should be the same on everyone. I'm not saying every app be the same. I'm saying your basics. So then when I go to get my phone and I'm using basics, it shouldn't be okay. Another one, like okay, here's another thing. Um, my mail should be the same across the board. I shouldn't have to get on an Android and then my I can't get my iCloud account, for instance. I got to go in and reprogram the phone to be able to use my iCloud account. See, if I'm on an Apple, I can use Gmail, Yahoo, Hotmail, iCloud, anything. So again, basic apps across the board on Android should be the same. Not all apps. That way,
for
when I go buy one, if I go get, so like you leave Samsung tomorrow and you go buy a Pixel, you're gonna be missing some stuff that you had on your Samsung. That shit happen, and they're the same price point. Shouldn't happen. That's what I'm saying.
okay. So for the basic apps, what I'm saying is Apple is run by one company. They don't allow nobody to come in and play with their stuff or touch anything or do anything. So that is
Thank
one
Jesus.
company doing it. When you have an
Right.
Android, as you said, anybody can create a system and create their own phone. So
No, you can't create a system. It's still using the Android
it's
system.
using the
You can
system, but
just create your own phone
anybody
around
okay.
that system.
So then when they
So you're
creating the
still using
phone,
13, I hope, or 12.
so if it's the same system, so that same system can do anything. It's just if the person decides to add it to it.
It can,
Hmm.
but they don't because the person may be, you're talking about corporations, not a
Mm-hmm.
person. So
Mm-hmm.
Google may decide I'm not going to put notes on my phone.
Mm-hmm. So
So
that's
now I'm
so
paying the
that's
same
but that's
thing,
Google's decision and that's their decision price point.
that decision
It
should,
doesn't mean
but
that the
that decision
system
should be
itself
made
can't
known to the buyer.
it doesn't mean that
But
the
then that's
system
not what's happening.
but it doesn't mean that the system itself can't do it. That is the person's choice that's make just like Apple decided this is my
Well,
choice, this is what I'm going to use, and this is
how
what I'm
can I
going to
get
make
it to do it then?
sure is going to be on here.
How do I get it to do it?
How do you get
See,
what to
that's the
do it?
problem.
How do you get what to
My,
do it?
okay, so my Pixel didn't have notes on it.
Mm-hmm.
How do I get it to do it? You say I can just add it. How do I do that? I
You downloaded the app, but
So download the app.
for the
So now
company
I got
is
to download the
for
app. But
the
what's the difference
company
between the downloaded app and the factory app?
for the company
What's the
itself,
difference?
it's the choice. If I'm going to make a
Well,
product, it's my choice.
But
to
what's the
use what I want.
difference though?
It you
See,
can't
so what I'm
you
saying
can't
is
you
the
can't say it's
user.
the Android system. That's just like if Apple
I didn't say it was an
if
Android system.
if
That's
app
not what I
if
said.
Apple had a
I
whole bunch
said
if
it
Apple
should be
had
the
different
same
people if
on
Apple had
each
different people
base.
if Apple had different people that could come
I
in
keep
and
getting
play with their
misquoted.
system, then Apple would also have people choosing what they want to put on there and what they don't. The
So
difference is
Apple got that right.
they had
What I'm
right.
saying is that basic apps should be the same. I shouldn't have to download Notes because when I download Notes, which is a basic app, now that app got commercials. Oh, I got to pay for it not to have commercials.
But you're saying
That's not the same as
Apple is on.
as that. Okay, we're
We
missing
already
a
discussed.
memoji.
Well, okay, listen. We
That's not the
already
same. That's a basic
discussed.
app.
We have discussed over and over again that Apple is owned by one company, and that when you have an Android, Androids have different companies that come in and do what they want. So obviously, if you have different people coming in, they're going to manipulate their system to put what they want on it. If I don't want that on there and I want to sell it like that, I have that right to do that. Just like
I think there's not a
Apple has
person
their own system and
out
they don't
there.
allow people to go
I
in
think
there
there's not a
and play
person
with
out
it.
there that don't know what you said already.
Do what?
That's not the point. There's not a person that's listening to this that don't know what you just said.
Right.
We can beat that to death. We know they build different. Everybody deals
So
build
then
something
it's not an
different.
argument. If
What
you know
I
that other
know,
people can go
what
in there and
I'm
touch it,
saying is that's not getting that. I now say the fifth time.
mm-hmm.
Basic apps should be the same. I don't care who the manufacturer is. Because otherwise, you go buy an Android phone as a let's just say you're going Apple to Android, you go buy an Android phone and it's missing basic apps because that manufacturer decided to put that on there.
That's
Basic.
their
So
right.
so what we should do is have what your basic apps are. And those basic apps are on every Android. We all know that every manufacturer make a different one. What we're saying is basic apps be on every one.
They don't allow
I'm not saying
that.
all apps be the same, like an Apple. That's not what I said.
Well, maybe
The
maybe
basics.
Notes isn't a
So,
basic
and
app for
I will
somebody.
list them one more time.
So maybe
The
Notes isn't
phone
a basic
should be
app.
on
What
every
might
one
be
because it is
what
a.
might be basic to
Well,
you?
we can't both
Well then
talk.
if it's not on every phone, then it's not basic then. How about that?
So,
How about that? How about we say that?
you're deciding it's
How,
not basic.
and you're deciding what is basic.
But
So you're
no,
going to
I
tell me that
well
Notes is basic
beforehand
because you need
I asked
Notes.
a question.
Notes
Do
is
you use
basic because
notes?
you need Notes. Notes is basic because you
I
need
want you
Notes.
to find a person that
Notes
does
is
not use
basic.
notes on their phone.
Notes is
Find a
basic.
person.
Notes is
So
basic because you need Notes. Everybody
well,
don't need Notes. So why what
well,
who's deciding what's the
it,
basic app?
most
Who's
because
deciding what's the
well,
basic app?
you gonna stop saying the same thing?
Who's deciding what's the basic app?
No, I guess you're not. That's 7 times. You said the same
Who's
thing.
deciding what's the basic app?
8 times. You good?
Who's
We all heard that.
because you're not answering the
Okay,
question. Who's
so
deciding what's the basic app?
9 times. So now can I speak?
You've been speaking
I'm
the
just
whole time.
I'm not saying that I make that decision.
Mm.
What I'm saying is if Apple has it, Samsung has it, another manufacturer has it, then we know that these apps are then basic. For
But
one, and I'll list them again. I'll list them again. Phone, messaging,
basic.
weather, and notes should be the same across the board because those are apps that most users use. So if most users use them, it's on a Samsung, on an Apple, it's on other maybe,
So
then
you basing it off of Samsung. So we
be
talking about whatever
the,
Samsung has,
the
everybody should
the
have.
basic ones should be the same across the board.
So
Okay,
whatever
so
Samsung has,
I've
everybody
already
should
said that
have.
about 17 times. Okay, so moving on. Another
Because
thing
you still ain't answered the
that
question that I asked
I
multiple
did,
times. No, you did.
I did
I
answer it.
said
You
then
didn't
who
listen,
I
so
said then who
look,
decides what's basic?
I just answered
You
that.
didn't say
I
who.
just said it.
You didn't say
If it's
who.
the same, if it's the same on an Apple and it's on your Samsung and it's on other Android manufacturers, and you can also tell who's using what easily because we know a percentage of people who use, like you just mentioned, a percentage of people who use iMessage versus or a percentage of people who use this app versus that one. The percentages are right there in the Play Store. So you know a percentage of people who use specific apps, so you can tell which apps are basic. So those apps should be used across the board. Moving on. So another
Negative.
thing
That's a
that
negative.
that
Let me my
price
military
points
tag. Negative.
that price points don't match up
But you can
is
say that
that
for anything. You can say that with a pair of shoes. My shoes got a heel and that shoe don't. So the price point that match up is
well,
not that
I've moved on.
anybody can
Well,
pick a
I didn't
price
finish
point
my
that they want
I didn't finish
also.
my
The point
sentence. I
of
just said
Android, the point I listen to you talk. I
finish
listen to
my
you talk
sentence.
most of this time. I promise you. If you go back
I
and
did,
listen to it,
but
you have
well,
carried the conversation. All I'm asking for is
that's
2 minutes.
pretty
2 minutes.
much every show. I
2 minutes.
carry a
Two
conversation four
minutes.
times a week.
Well, this show I'm asking you for my 2 minutes, please.
And you asked me a question. I answered. I'm moving
No,
on because
you
nobody
can't
wants to hear a
if we
whole
talk
show about me saying
and
the
you
same thing
over talk
about
me.
basic apps.
No, negative.
So I've moved on. Somebody's got to moderate. That would be me.
No, you
I'll move on.
moderate and
So
carry the
we're now
whole
talking
thing
about
out wanting
price
to hear what I have
points
to say.
based on gadgets. So Apple does have price points based on some gadgets. Like we mentioned, the SE phone is one price. The Pro Max is another price
Okay, well
because
I guess
there's gadgets added on.
okay,
If I can
my
complete
fault.
my whole thought, please.
Again,
If I can
again.
complete my whole thought,
No, because I never
please.
get this. I haven't got to say my whole thought
Well,
yet.
like I say, somebody's got to
I
moderate. So
haven't.
can
Then
I
you can
continue?
moderate by yourself. You can't moderate and have somebody on and
Well,
then
there's a
go, well,
moderator on any
we
show.
can't
I
talk.
happen to be the moderator. I started the show off and I moderate. So as I was saying,
Well, go
we're
ahead.
moving on
I
from
don't have nothing
basic
else to
apps.
say because you're gonna say
We're
what
gonna
you want
move
to say
on.
anyway. Go ahead.
Okay, so price points based on gadgets. Apple has these gadgets that they add, like we talked about 3 cameras.
Yes,
We
master.
talked about more memory.
Yes,
We
master.
talked about all of that. So
Yes,
those
master.
what price points are based on.
Yes, master.
With Android phones,
Yes, master.
price points are also based on gadgets.
Yes,
Well,
master.
what are some of those gadgets?
Yes, master.
Some of those gadgets are that the phone can fold. That's the
Yes, master.
newest thing.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
Yes.
as as we go with Android in the future, I
Mm-hmm.
think folding phones is the future. I feel that that is where we're going to go. It's just like looking at today electric cars and go if the forever who's out there going, well, you know what? I'm not going to buy an electric car because I just want gas and I just want engines with pistons. They're going to get left behind because we're going to the future. So the future is no longer going to be anybody riding around in gasoline cars for the most part. So 20 years, 30 years from that, that's where we're going. Right now, I was down at a dealership the other day, not going to say the name of that dealership because they don't sponsor me, but they were selling 75 cars, electric cars per day. 75 per day in one dealership in one little town. So that's where it's going. Already, Samsung, Motorola, now Google has shown us the future. The future is folding phones. It's not going to be these big, giant handheld machines that we have today. So now we see that folding, as it's being the future, is now costing more money. So where are we going to go with that? Are you going to be the person that will pay more money for a folding phone? Or will you continue to have the gigantic glass phones that we have today? What's your view?
First, folding phones have been out. We don't do nothing but repeat. History repeats itself. Folding phones have been out before. This is not brand new. It's not new technology. It's not something that the world has never seen before. So, in the future, do I think there are going to be more folding phones? Probably. But are they going to go away again? Yes. I think phones will probably be obsolete anyway because all the technology they come out with, you're probably going to be able to tap something and the screen is going to be in the air instead of something you're holding. So, as far as the folding portion goes, I don't see that being really long term. I don't like the fold where I just feel like when you fold it, it's not even like the folding phones used to be. For some reason, it's got that middle portion that I didn't like. It's like flimsy in the middle. Um,
Well, when you say folding phones have been out a long time, you're talking about like going back to Motorola flip phones.
Yeah, the
Is that
flip
what you're talking?
phones. Yep.
That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is when we talk about folding phones, I'm talking about the glass technology
I know
or
you're talking about the
plastics that
technology
appear
now where
glass.
it's going over your entire phone instead of
Yeah,
just the
I'm
top
not just
portion
talking
of
about
it.
a phone. Yeah, that flip. I'm talking about glass technology. So that's our
But
newer
I
stuff.
don't I don't think
When
it's
we
going
get
to
to
last
Samsung,
because again, you have that centerpiece that's not as strong, and I see a lot of that bending or not really lasting as long as the entire phone itself. I think you're going to have some. It just came out not that long ago, so we're going to see how that works, but I really don't see it eh, lasting as long. I think where we're going with the phones again is we're going to be seeing phones where they're in the air. It's just going to be, um, you're touching something maybe on your wrist and doing things like that. I think we're combining a lot of mind technology where you can think of things. I think that's coming out, to be honest. I know you be thinking I'm left field with stuff, but I really think they're gonna have
no,
I think
I
they're
mean,
gonna have something where it's attached, like maybe how you would put you know how you put like headphones on, the like a operator, the real thin piece across your head, and you talk
mhm.
with a piece that comes down and out. I don't think it's gonna be a piece that comes down and out. I think it's gonna be something that you can probably, put on your temples or on your head, and it's a thought thing where you can think about, who you want to call or say out loud, like Alexa, call such and such.
I mean, well, we can do that now with
But I'm
Siri.
saying, like, not even, just something on your head though, not worried about a phone, an actual phone.
Reading thoughts.
Right.
Well,
I hate to
but
say it like that, and a lot of people don't think that we're going to be that. It's going to be anything like that anytime soon. But I think there are certain times in our history that we have jumped when it came to technology, and I think we're going to hit another jump soon.
well, I mean, I'm with all of the technology that comes about. I'm one with it, but you know, because we don't have any of that yet, it's kind of hard to talk about.
Yeah.
I do believe that stuff that you see on TV or Minority Report movie back in the day, we're starting to see it
Yeah,
with virtual
yeah. There you
reality
go.
and things
Something
like
like
that.
that. Yeah.
Uh, but I mean, I was more like, you know, thinking along the lines of the technology we have today. Whether you think it might grow, and you're thinking we're going to pretty much end the folding phone
Yeah,
phase.
I don't think
You,
the folding phone is going to last as long as people think it is. I think we're going to have a jump. Like we're going to skip. We're going to we're going to jump. It's a jump is coming soon for us to technology. I think that the government is always ahead of us anyway by a good couple of decades. And then they decide to bring stuff out. And I think we're in for another leap in technology. We're going to skip some phases or whatever and go into. So I don't think the folding phone is really going to last but so long. And like I said, I mean, did you said you had the folding phone, right?
I did have the Samsung
Did you
briefly.
you didn't notice the crease part?
I didn't have any problems with mine,
Mm-hmm.
but there's a lot of people who do. I mean, it's all over. But the problem people have problems. I didn't have that problem with the flip. Now, of course, that's the fold too. So
Mm-hmm.
you got the one that's tall that folds in half, and the flip that's. But no, I didn't have that problem at all. Matter of fact, obviously Apple is thinking along your lines because they have no intentions on building one.
Mm-hmm.
For me,
And I think that's
I,
the
I
right
think I
move.
think they're behind the eight ball. I think Samsung's up on something,
Mm, okay.
and it's moving people to buy them. I think people have actually left Apple to
To
have a
have
folding
to
phone.
yup to get that folding phone. That you're right, they have. But
I
I
think
just
over time.
I think once you see, I think anything new that comes out is kind of a people want to jump on that train and get it, and it's something that they haven't seen before, and it's exciting, and especially when one person is doing it and somebody, I think it's three different companies now that are doing some kind of fold. I know
Right.
Samsung, is it, does Pixel have one?
Yes, they
And
have
then
the
there's
Pixel
there's
Fold,
there's one more. There's one. There are
the
three.
Motorola
The Motorola.
has one.
Okay, so you got three of them doing it right now. But I just don't foresee that fold lasting because of that centerpiece. That's the first thing I noticed when I picked up one because I really wanted one. And I kept flipping it back and forth. I was like, "There's something about this fold just don't. It's flimsy in the center. It's attached everywhere else, but you got to have that fold. So there's going to be a crease issue. There's going to be some wear and tear in that area sooner or later."
Right. And well, I mean, yeah. I mean, but that's with any new technology. I think it'll get perfected.
Mhm.
And, I think some of the companies that's missing out on it, Apple included, could probably perfect it. But they don't even want to get involved. They just out. So I think they're missing out on we're going they're going with a bunch of new cameras. Okay, so we're gonna do all that. Why not try something new? But I think they feel like you feel it's a phase
And I think it's
going away.
small. It makes the phone a little smaller or slimmer because you can fold it. But um, I don't know. I know that Apple stopped making that mini. I don't know why.
Yeah, I'm with them going to the future. We're too far back now because to me the 15 looks like a iPhone 5.
Mm.
I mean, let's just start being real. We can get some new designs, and that was the thing about when Steve Jobs was alive. That it was consistency when that phone had a new number, it had a new face, it had a new body, and now to me, it's like one of my favorite cars. In the past was a '78 Oldsmobile Cutlass Supreme. But if General Motors still made a 2023 Oldsmobile Cutlass Supreme look just like the '78, and they just had batteries in it to make it. I wouldn't like that. Like I don't, I won't change to my vehicle. Yeah, I want it to look new, and I'm the same with my phone. I don't want it to look like 8 years ago, and that's what to me my phone looks like. So I'm ready for Apple. That's why I give Samsung the nod. Samsung even more than other Android companies the nod. It always keeping people coming back because the phones look so fresh and new. The body of it is beautiful. Whereas to me, Apples have gotten outdated.
So what I will say about that is the flip phones. Yes, I did not like, and I don't even know. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I don't know what the 23 looks like. I should know what the 23 looks like. My grandson has one, but I hadn't paid attention to it. But I didn't like the squareness of the Samsung 22 that I got. It
Yeah, I guess.
and
Yeah, I can see
and
that.
the iPhone had a roundness. It just looked more modern.
But the 22
Hmm.
don't look like a 14, and that's my issue with Apple is that we at 15 and they look like fives and sixes. I mean, we going, they don't look new and fresh.
Mm. Well,
Even though it
that's a
was
that's a
squarer
that's an
than,
easy fix. That's an easy.
but they're not doing it. And I've been complaining about that I mean, we're going on a decade of the same phone, same looking phone, and it's boring. Apple needs it. But moving on to another thing that's different with Androids and Apples is updates. I like the fact that when I get an update on my Apple phone, it's across the board. I've had my Samsung, not my Samsung, I did not. That was not the case. Samsung is much more progressive than the other Androids. But with the other Androids, I would get an update and it would affect the functionality of major applications on my phone, like my banking app. I
Hmm.
got an update on my Pixel when we went to like I think 12.3 or some new update came along. And all of a sudden I went to check my banking app. And for me, I check my banking app when I wake up. When my foot hit the floor, I check to see what my bank looks like in case anything came out that shouldn't have, on and on. And all of a sudden I couldn't log in to Wells Fargo that morning because of an update. That shit never happened. It just I need consistency with my updates. That shouldn't and again, like you mentioned before, different brands, different things. But when when we're working on an operating system that's the same, because it was Android 12 point whatever, 2 or 3 when my phone app wasn't working, that should be a same thing. you know, how do you feel about updates? Have you had this? Well, you use Samsungs for the most part, so you probably
Hmm.
never had this issue. But have you heard of people having that issue?
I haven't heard of any issues with no. No, I mean, but most people I know they have Samsungs. They don't have, I think my sister has a Pixel, but she's never had any complaints about updates.
Okay. All right, now I'm gonna hit you with another one that it's an issue that maybe Samsung not as much as others. Poor resale value and trade value on those Androids.
Mhm. Yeah.
Man, the Pixel $1,200. My
Mhm.
phone was in the same year. Within 6 months, I couldn't get anybody to buy it for $300.
Mm.
Terrible trade value. And this is what got me was when okay, so I went on the Samsung's app when I was buying that flip. So you know, I even went on to Google's when Google came out with their flip phone. So here I am with their latest product, the Pixel that I had, and then they got the flip that's coming. So I go in there to see how much Google would give me for my phone, and they wouldn't give me but $300. But they would give me the same amount for my Apple phone that I would get from Apple. Almost, almost give me what I paid for.
Mhm.
So do you know what that does to your product? If you're Google and you give me more money for another person's phone than you do for your own phone you manufactured, that makes that phone useless to me. You're saying it ain't worth nothing. That would be like, take for instance, you go down and you buy a brand new, um, name the car. You buy a Kia, let's just say Kia,
Mhm.
and then you go to trade it back at Kia, and they won't give you nothing for it. But they'll give you a whole lot of money for a Honda. But they won't give you anything for the Kia that you just bought from them. That don't make any that lowers the value of that car. That's what happened with that phone. Now the phone is worthless because Google won't even give you anything for it.
Well,
Not so much the case with Samsung. So I mean, I know that's probably not something you've dealt with.
yeah, Samsung stays. It's still not as high as value as the iPhone. I've noticed. It drops a little bit, but it doesn't drop like ridiculously.
Yeah, yeah, Samsungs are not as bad, but they do. Like you say, it's not much as apples. Okay, so a couple of more things because we have gotten all over our time. The stuff like not being able to screenshot banking apps. Like if I was on Afterpay, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, whatever, on my Pixel, I go to screenshot something, it would not screen, it'd just be a black screen.
Mm.
Yeah, didn't like that. I thought that was terrible. Because some things I needed to screenshot because I need to discuss. Like, okay, I go to my and I had to just go into my Apple product, which was my iPad, and then go into the app and screenshot it because that could have been some money taken out that shouldn't have been, whatever. I wanted to screenshot that so I can email it to the that person. So like Wells Fargo, I could email it to their department. I couldn't do that with my uh
The Pixel.
Pixel. And I'm sure it's probably different on the Android because that's that thing about things being different.
Mhm.
I didn't know these things when I bought the Pixel, or I would have just bought the Samsung from the Jump Street.
You're right.
Um, and nowhere to find my passwords. Like on my Apple phone, I can find my passwords to every one of my autofill where it fills in automatically. I
Mhm.
couldn't find that on my Pixel. Did you have it? Do you have that on Samsung? Can you find your passwords? Say like you got a password to Wells Fargo, since we mentioned them. Can you find it on your phone?
Well, it's through Samsung, which is another. It's an app within the phone, but I guess it's kind of like iPhone, but it's Samsung.
But you can't. Yeah, gonna find it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I can find
It
it.
wasn't that way on the Pixel. But like I mentioned, I love the camera quality. Not so much the sound, speaker sound on my Androids. What about the speaker sound on that 22?
Yeah, my speaker sound is fine. I don't have any issues with that. I think
Um,
I think the only other thing with the iPhone has very great security, like you just said. You know what I'm saying? As far
yeah,
as
security is unmatched.
yeah, their security is, but there's a reason it's unmatched because they don't allow people to go in and do things. That's why you can't
There you go.
um change the way certain things looks on the phone. That's why you can't do third party things through Apple because of their security. Where somebody might be like, you know what, I'm just going to download some Norton or some whatever and get the security that way. But I still want to be able to use third party apps. And I like, this app over here, but I can't get it because Apple's like, no, we're not touching that. So I think that's the difference between the Androids and the Apples also is that security feature. So it's kind of a toss up how you want to, how secure something is or is not.
Hmm. And
So,
I think that's the reason why they took the screenshot capabilities out on the Pixels was
hmm
for security. I'm sure that's what the reason. They just didn't want to ruin James's day. I'm sure it was about security.
James's day.
Sure, that's what it was about.
And
You know,
my kids said there's something, I don't do gaming, but there's a difference in gaming too. So Apple has different games than the Androids, and then also if they do have the same games, I guess they're played differently. But I guess that's because of the system that's being used.
you got me. Now we can bring up age. Now we can start talking about because I
Yeah,
really
so
lost it
that's from the kids. That's from the
My nephew said that.
the
That's why
nine
he
year
had his
old and
Android.
the 14-year-old.
He had an Android that was made for gaming. It had a fan in the back of it,
Yes, yep. You
to
got
keep
the
it cool.
fan to keep it cool. I heard that too about the iPhone will get hot.
Right,
Now
right.
I have heard about the iPhones getting hot, but it's not the Samsung 22. I think it was the 21. The 21, was it the 21? It might have been the 19 that I had, was getting that used to get really hot. Now I don't know what was wrong with that phone, but they fixed it because I don't have that issue with this phone. But that phone used to get hot. Like I almost got rid of Samsung period because of that. But like I said, I still went back to them and everything is fine now. So I don't know what was going on with that, but I have heard issues with the iPhone getting hot. Now has mine gotten hot? It has gotten hot, but I'm doing something. I'm trying to think, what am I doing? I'm on it for a long period of time. I think I am. It must be the gaming. You're right. It must be the gaming because I am. It's when I play games for a long time. My iPhone.
Yeah, mine gets hot. The 15, when I first got it, would get hot when I plugged it up.
Oh.
Mm. Yeah, that was a problem. And then I got almost immediately an update, and then it stopped doing it.
And then it's okay.
That's
So
still
people
good.
must have complained, and they was like, "Okay, we gotta fix it." Okay.
Yeah, I mean it was burning hot. I ain't talking about a little bit hot. It was it's a good thing it was sitting on my nightstand or something, not on the bed or something like that, because it would get really hot. And
Mm.
then a week or two later, boom, gone. Didn't do that
Oh,
anymore.
the storage, real quick. So
Storage.
iPhone storage, you have to pay for it up front. Not up front, but I guess you pay for it and then you get more storage. But people were saying that that's really costly, that it's really expensive. Where I know that my Samsung, I have these little storage
SD
cards.
card.
Yep.
Hmm.
That I could just pop in there and I can just go buy it and add storage, take it out and dump everything, things like that.
Another party that Apple is late to. They were late to they're late to the folding party. They're late to the USB-C party, where we just not got those on the 15th.
Oh,
And
so
they're
they are
darn sure
now. So they on the
late
15s now?
the USB-C.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
no.
yeah,
The
yeah.
little card. Okay. Oh,
No, no, I'm talking about USB-C,
oh, the
the
port.
plug.
The port. Okay.
And then they're late to the SD party.
Yeah, the SD. Yep.
That's yeah. No, you should not be paying upfront for memory.
Mm-hmm.
You should be able to add memory as needed with your SD card.
Right.
That's that they are way behind. Because I guess in their minds, why not go ahead and collect that $100, $200, $300 up front out your pocket, and they get the money. Then you go to Joe Blow, you go down to Walmart or somebody and buy you a SD card. They don't get that much. So I guess that's what they're thinking. I don't know what it is. They years late to that part,
Mm-hmm.
decades, because that should have happened first iPhone. Should have happened first. That's yeah. Android got them beat up and down the block for that. That's more economical. But maybe it's another safety issue. You lose your SD card or something, and then somebody's got information they shouldn't have.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's what they. I don't know what they're thinking because nobody's invited me to the next Apple meeting. I'm not one chairman on the board or nothing, but I don't really understand why you're paying for memory up front.
So
That's
here's a question. With your volume button. So, I'm not an Apple person, so I don't know. On my Okay, so when I have my Samsung, I press the volume to go down. There's a little volume screen that pops up, a little small icon. And, press the button and you'll see it going down or you'll see it going up. On my Samsung, there are three little dots in there though. I can press that and then it opens up all these other volumes. So my tone, uh what is it called?
the
The
ringer,
ringer, the voice, the
the
talk,
media.
all of that. So it's like about five of them that pop up and I can play with each one. I don't see that on my iPhone. Do I have to go all the way to settings to play with that?
Yes,
See,
answer is
yeah,
yes.
see,
Uh-huh.
that was a little too much for me too. Because I was like, if I want to hit the volume down and I want to talk to somebody on the phone, but I just don't want, and I want to play a game while I'm talking to them, I can just hit that little button and I can just put the media down.
Right,
Where with the iPhone, it took me a minute to figure it out. I was like, why I can still hear everything? I'm so confused. Like,
right.
where is the button to go back and just have certain things at a certain volume and not everything at one volume at the same time?
Gotta go to settings for that.
Right.
And another thing that I don't like is Apple makes it hard if the if you're leaving and going to Android, they make it hard to get all of your technology to follow you. They make it difficult. As but Android doesn't. So when I wanted to move back to Apple, I had all my pictures, everything. It just all happened in 15 minutes. It was all on my new iPhone. But if I
Mm.
wanted to take this new iPhone, I want to go to Samsung. Apple makes it difficult. Apple shuts down anything I want to do with Google. So, so I have like really nice watches, and it's just now with the new updates that my iPhone works great with my Google watches. But
Mhm.
before, the only thing it would do is basically tell me the time. It was just it wasn't. But now my iPhone, when my iPhone rings, the Google Watch rings, and they made it very difficult. You would even go into certain stores like Fossil or something like that and say, "Hey, I'm using an iPhone, but I love this new Fossil Google Watch,"
Mhm.
and they would go, "Don't do it." They say it's done because the only thing you're gonna have is just a watch.
Mhm.
You're not gonna have the
Right.
capabilities using your iPhone. Now it does. And I like it better because with my Apple Watch, I got to pay my carrier $10, uh, $10, a month for my Apple Watch. I don't have to pay for my Google Watches. They just work seamlessly, and I don't have to link it up. But again, they don't have cellular service either. But
Mm.
I rarely leave my phone home and use my watch, so I really don't need the cellular service.
Mhm.
But I like the fact that if I wanted to go to Android, you know, Apple makes it difficult, but if I'm going from Android to Apple, Android makes it easy. They make everything easy. That if you want, matter of fact, if I wanted to send you a video to
Mhm.
your Android phone, Apple's gonna have it all pixelated. It's gonna be ugly. That shouldn't even be. It should. If I want to send a video or I want to send something like that, it should work just as seamless as it does in iMessage. It shouldn't be ugly going to an Android. It shouldn't matter who I'm sending it to because I bought Apple's product. So it doesn't matter who I send it to. It should all be clear and beautiful when I send it, not pixelated and ugly.
Right.
So I don't like that whole we hate everybody else. So we're just gonna make life difficult if you try to communicate with everybody. Technology that we should be all moving forward. We move with technology, all communicating, working together. Again, maybe I sound like kumbaya, but I just think it's ridiculous. I can take a beautiful picture of something on my Android or a video on my Android. I can send it to another Android user, and they're like, "Oh, this is a beautiful video." And then if I send it to an Apple person, they're going, "What in the world did you just send me?" I have to send it to them in the email.
Mm.
That's ridiculous. But I have to give Apple another kudo here. It's the connectivity to Bluetooth devices. On my Bluetooth devices, Apple is pretty seamless for the most part with my Pixel, I would lose Bluetooth connectivity. Like I could be listening to a song and then just lose my Bluetooth connectivity altogether, or just start going. It sounds like a robot.
Mm,
Have you ever had that happen with the Samsung?
no, no.
Again,
But
again,
I see that Pixel is going through a lot of glitches, and yeah, they're gonna have to catch up. But they're new.
see, that's the
Yeah,
thing.
they new. So I didn't expect. They came out the box a lot better than I thought they were going to be. That running start, they did a whole lot better than I thought. So I
Yeah,
am.
I mean,
Yeah,
they surprised the world. They didn't
yeah,
go
they
away
did.
like Windows did.
Yeah,
Windows had to just disappear
yeah, they
on a
did.
time.
They were there, and then they weren't. I don't know what happened with that. Yeah,
Yeah, it was awful. It
yeah,
sucked. That's why.
and
So
it sucked.
it just did. So to kind of summarize our whole thing, we agree on many things. We agree on the fact that there's all these different manufacturers, and all these different things with Androids. Um, we disagree that that should be or shouldn't be. For me, I just feel like I've number of times some of the things I talked about, I had to say, well, you didn't have that on your Samsung, did you? I shouldn't have to just pull out Samsung. I just feel like I should say Androids in general, and people not have these experiences, but it's not that way. Um, that bothers me. I'm just summarizing. It bothers me about these apps that I call basic that we talked about. It bothers me that Apple refuses to change the bodies of their phones. That they just want to keep the same old looking phone and then charge us more every year when they update it. It bothers me. The points you brought out about SD cards, and I mean not having to buy memory from my Apple. It bothers me on my Android that I did have that you didn't have, that when I would update it would affect functionality of major apps. Bothers me on Samsung about poor resale value. Not Samsung and Android, except Samsung. And then the capabilities or screenshots or something not being able to do that. I find passwords on different Androids. Not the case with Samsung. And picture quality on Pixels as well as Samsungs of people far surpass Apple, in my opinion. Um, but not necessarily products. I think my pictures of cars or other things I've taken look awesome, but not people.
Yeah, I have to
Android's
check
killer.
that one out. I have to look at that.
And also, you know, battery life. We didn't even talk about that. I think that Samsung, especially, I'm gonna call them out, had battery life that far surpassed everybody else until Apple finally came along with the 15. And now battery life is comparable to Samsung. It wasn't even comparable to me before.
Mm,
A Samsung, which is, I was using alternative battery methods on my app, on my Apple
mm,
by the time I got to the evening. Whereas on that Samsung phone I had, I could use it the same way I did my Apple, and it was still halfway full by the end of the day. So, but now Apple is finally catching up with the battery life. You fair time, and summarizing your experience with both phones.
well, I mean, yeah, I'm not an Apple fan. I can't get used to the whole changes and the little things, the little quirks. They just bother me. A lot of people I talk to, surprisingly for me though, like a lot of people I thought was going to say Apple, but I guess I have a lot more Android friends than I do Apple friends. I didn't realize that because I always hear Apple everywhere I go. I hear Apple, even when it comes to like phone cases. You see Apple phone cases everywhere. It's so annoying.
Yeah.
Look for another look. I look for Samsung. I'm like, this is top of the line to Samsung, so they should at least carry the Samsung. Even if I understand that there are different Androids out there, at least carry the top of the line one. Nope. But I trust and believe you can go anywhere and find iPhone cases.
I'm telling you.
It is crazy. And I'm like, wow, it just made my head hurt. But anyway, so that part, it's just amazing that iPhone has really embedded themselves into um the whole system of which phone a person should have. I think I don't know the ratio, like how many people have iPhones to how many people have Androids, but it's the way it looks out there. It's like more people have iPhones than Androids, and it might not be that, but because iPhones have their stuff everywhere, even when you think you should be able to find. And maybe that's it. Maybe because there's so many different Androids that they decided, well, we're not. But again, Samsung is top of the line, so they should at least carry that,
Right.
and they don't. So that's a real irritant for me. But other than that,
I found Amazon to be the cure for
Amazon.
that problem. Yeah. But see, you know what I do, and I mentioned this the last show. I hate promoting people that don't promote me. But Amazon is actually a sponsor of the show. So So, matter of fact, and on this show, we can put a little link to Amazon
Mm-hmm.
with Samsung and Apple cases, and people will click on the link, and Amazon will proudly sponsor the show and even send us funds for
Well, there you
for
go.
those things that people buy. So, yes, I will mention
Yeah, put that link
Amazon.
in there
Yep,
for the
we need
what's
to
the
put the
name.
link in there for because what you said is really so true.
It's
Because when I had the
true.
Pixel, I had the most boringest cases known to me. And I want to mention one other thing since we were talking about this, Apple being a lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
So much so that I have been places, even on job interviews or in different business settings. And if I pulled out my Android, I was judged. People
Yes.
would look at me and go,
Mm-hmm.
don't know about that guy. And that's something. It's a
Mm-hmm.
lifestyle. It's kind of like I was telling somebody again. I hate mentioning. There's a certain I can just say this electric car company out there. A certain electric car company that you can buy any other electric car, but if it's not that electric car, it's like it don't even matter.
Right.
So, there's this rich part of town, and people pull up in that particular car. If they have another, I almost said a brand, but if they have another brand of
Mm-hmm.
electric car, it's like the valets don't even want to sit in it. They're like, oh, that.
Mm.
But that particular car, man. So it's like that car versus all other um electric cars, and that's the way it seems with Apple. It's like Apple versus the Android world.
Right.
No matter what the brand is, them versus the world, and but it's so much of a religion.
Mm.
It even got us to argue, and I'm telling you, this is that's the way you can have a religious conversation. People will argue. You can have a political conversation. People will argue. You can have Android versus Apple, and people will argue. I mean, they get hot.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it's just the truth.
I've
It's
I've
amazing.
experienced it. I almost got beat up for an apple.
Yeah,
Look.
yeah. You spending your money. This person not buying your phone. So
Beat up
that's
for an apple.
and it's that way. I think it's gonna be that way to the end of the world. But what we can agree on is what you said earlier. Basic functionalities are really the same. After a while, if you had both phones, like you got both phones, I got both phones. After a while, you start to realize, well, this one does what the other one does. It's just one might do it easier, like you put
Mm-hmm.
it. It might be able to get to, like you said, about changing my media setting, volume settings, my phone volume, the ringer volume, all that. I can
Mm-hmm.
change that really easy on the Android. And the three buttons do everything on the Android. Just look for the three buttons, no matter where you're at. It does everything. There's no three buttons on the app. You just gotta know where to go, or
Just gotta
either
know where to
hit
go.
search.
Yeah.
You gotta go to search and then search it. And so that's yeah. I think over time, um, people find the Android easier because three dots will do anything for you, whereas Apple you got to search.
Yeah.
It's not that it's. I
It's
don't
not
think
that
I don't
it's
think
not
one.
there. It's just again, like I said, it's in a different spot.
Yeah, one's not a clear winner anymore.
Yeah.
I think that's why I am with it.
Mm-hmm.
Like when we were talking about those electric cars and we talk about the one brand versus the world. Well, right now they're the clear winner
Right.
because their cars go farther. Their cars, got their own charging places, and so they're already the clear winner. I think
But
over
sooner or
time there's
later,
not going to
yeah.
be it's not going to be a clear winner anymore. Everybody's going to be
Sooner or later, they're going to
driving
catch
that
up.
stuff,
Got to play catch up.
right? And so that's what was going on with Apple and to me, especially Samsung. There's no clear winner. You could get either phone and you won. It's just when you start to me bringing up the other manufacturers of Androids where it's no comparison.
Mhm.
It's no comparison to Samsung and the darn sure in comparison to Apple. But but the Samsungs and the Apples, I throw my hands up and go pretty much the same thing. It's you don't lose. Put it that way. But if I had on body wise, I give the edge to Samsung.
Mhm.
Prettier phones, pictures of people, I get an edge to Samsung. Apple, I start leaning the whole other way on everything else. And you just like you said, you're the opposite. You Samsung all the way down the line. Apple's
Mhm.
out the door. And the Apple didn't win at nothing almost.
Yeah, I tried it. Like you said, you always got to try something. Don't just, go with, And I was stuck on Android because again, I'm against the grain. So I
Right.
just didn't want to do what the masses was doing. But then when, like, you know what? Maybe it's a reason. You know what I'm saying? It's got to be a reason that everybody is going this direction. So let me just see. But again, I'm very basic also. So when it came to the Android, I was like, you know what? No, I don't need to try to figure all this extra stuff out. I just need to just hit the little button and go on about my business. And
And I
it's
like
harder when you've been trained on something a certain way, and then somebody changes systems on you.
that.
So it could
Yes.
be the same thing, but it's just the way you use it. So same thing when you drive in a car in the United States, you drive and you sit on the right side. I mean on the left side. You go to Europe, you're sitting on the right side. So you have to adjust to that. It's not that the driving is really different. You're just sitting in a different position, which changes your perspective.
Beautifully put.
Yeah. So I think that's my thing. I didn't like my perspective.
Beautifully put.
Yeah.
I never thought about that. It
Mm.
changes your perspective.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the phone does. It's not that it's different. It just change. I like that because I've imagined myself on the right side of a car, and I would like to say I could drive it just fine, but I don't
Mm-hmm.
think so. I think it would take me some time to get used to that,
Right.
especially if it was standard shift, and I had to shift with my left hand. Oh
Yeah.
my goodness, no! I can't imagine.
Yeah. And then you know what I'm saying? But see, they've been brought up on that their whole life. It's normal to them. And then they come over here and they like, oh, wait a minute. And then driving on the
Yeah,
opposite side of the road, you still doing the same exact thing. You still driving, you still got the signs you gotta follow, the stoplights, all of that. It's just you're on the opposite side.
yeah. That's beautifully put. It changes perspective. It doesn't change driving altogether. And that's what
Mm-hmm.
the phone's doing. It's changing our perspective, not the fact of one phone completely is inferior to the other. Nothing
Mm-hmm.
like that. But yeah, yeah, beautifully said. So as always, we enjoy our conversations. I love it when we're on opposite sides, like
Mm-hmm.
today, because the audience gets to have fun with us and gets to join in on the arguments. Um, I love that. Need that, because nobody wants to listen to two people think the same on everything. So hey, I'm all about it. But the one thing that stays consistent is that you and I, we're gonna voice our opinions and we're gonna end with loving each other. So we gonna have to at some point in time in this show. I think we're gonna have to make it into two parts because we're already
At the 2 hour mark almost, yes.
we 6 minutes away. Yeah,
Mm.
so I think that'll be fun as well because we decided to do this whole we being me holiday period with only doing our show and not doing the other shows, just giving people a break so they can travel, do their thing, go back and listen to the catalog of shows, and they can just catch up on the newest, the his and hers. So I like that we did it this way. So having a 2 hour show and they don't have anything else to listen to is just fine. But I think they're gonna. I don't think that. I think we're saying it, but in the conclusion of this segment. But I don't think anybody's gonna listen to this and get bored. And it was not boring at any point in time. I enjoy the animation, the loud talk, the fun. That's how we talk when we talking to each other. So I
Mm-hmm.
love all of that. And I think that my favorite part is if you want to moderate it by yourself. That was the most beautiful. See, to me, I love stuff like that. See, I'm sick because I grew up. loving getting picked on by my relatives and cousins. I love being mocked. Like that's hilarious to me.
Mm,
You know, and
mm,
now like teaching it and volunteering at the school, I got students that dress up like me, mimic me,
mm.
talk like me. I other people would be offended. I
You
love
did
it.
not tell me that, James.
Oh yeah, I gotta send you pictures. They had
Yes.
the dress like the teacher day, and I had little girls with a group. Had the little because I have like this tiny. I can't grow a mustache. I can't grow a beard, so I just have this little mustache. It's just, it looks drawn on. And little girls took like mascara things and just drew the
Mm,
tiny mustache.
mm, mm.
It was hilarious. Walk like me, talk like me. To me, that's fun. So I love when people come at me. That's hilarious. I thought that was a
Wow.
funny statement. I love that one. We're gonna have to use that one later on in another segment. If
Mm,
you want to
mm.
moderate it by yourself, that's hilarious. So, as I always said, much love on both sides of these microphones. In addition to that, if you would be so kind to say good night, Miko.
Good night, Mico.